Okay, we have a quorum. We're going to get started here. As chair of the Budget Recommendations Committee, I find that due to the state of emergency declared by the governor as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic and in accordance with the governor's emergency order number 12, this public body is authorized to meet electronically. A public notice of this meeting was posted on the town website and on the bulletin board of the town offices at 10 Front Street. As provided in that public notice, the public may access the meeting online and via phone. Please note that all votes taken during this meeting shall be done by roll call vote. And we'll start the meeting by taking roll call attendance. When each member states their presence, please also state whether there is anyone in the room with you during this meeting and who that person may be. This is required under the right to know law. I will begin and proceed as people are shown on my screen, so try to be aware. My name is Robert Kelly. I'm the chair of the Recommendations Committee and chair of the Water and Sewer Subcommittee. Nancy?
Nancy Belanger, and I'm home alone.
Kathy?
Kathy Corson, and I'm here with my dog Albus Dumbledore, but he is not speaking tonight.
Anna?
Anna Grazier. I am here in my home, and I do have a peanut gallery, although they're ignoring me. My husband, Matt Grazier, and my two children are in the room, and they can't hear you. They can only hear me.
There you go. Chris Sigmund?
Chris Sigmund here, and I am alone in the room, but two youngsters have been in and out. So
the expiration.
Kaylee?
Kaylee Bryden, alone temporarily, but I have two cats and a husband that will be coming in and out. So,
Liz?
Liz Canada, in the room alone. Boys might come in and out as well.
Judy?
Judy Rowan, I'm alone in the room, and as far as I know, no one will be joining me.
Ton Zwan?
Yes, hi, Tom Swan here, 7 Marlborough Street. My wife will be in and out, but mostly out of the room.
Amy?
Amy Farnham. I have a 14-year-old here with me, but he's got his AirPods in, so he's pretty oblivious.
Corey?
Evening, everybody. Corey Stevens, Grady Hill Ave. I am alone in the room.
Don Clement?
Don Clement, Thelma Drive, and I am alone.
Christine?
Hey, Chris Suter, and my daughter's in the other room watching TV, and my husband should be home soon, and my dog is waiting for me to drop food on the floor.
Great, and we also have some town staff and elected officials with us. We'll introduce them accordingly. Doreen?
Doreen Chester, Finance Director, and I'm alone in the room.
Let's see, who else do we have? Nico?
Good evening, everyone. Nico Papakostandis. I'm the chair of the select board. And I'm alone in the room.
Rustine, town manager. Good evening, and I am in the office and by myself.
Jennifer?
Good evening, Jennifer Perry, Public Works Director, and I'm alone in the office.
And I see where Jay is on. I don't know if he's actually at his computer or not.
Good evening. I am on, and Jay Perkins, Highway Superintendent, and I am alone.
Thank you, Jay. Okay, this evening we'll be working on the Public Works General Fund items. Corey Stevens is the chair of that subcommittee with Don Clement and Amy Farnham. So I will turn the meeting over to them to walk us through the DPW general budget. Corey?
Great, thank you.
Corey, can I interrupt before you start just for a second? Sorry about that. Just a quick process thing. Does everyone know how to use the raise hand feature, raise hand, lower hand, to ask questions? And Bob, can you see it okay?
I can.
Okay. So it should be on the lower right-hand side of your screen. If you click on participants, it'll bring up the list of participants, and then the raise hand, lower hand is on the bottom right of your screen. So just in terms of asking questions and so forth, just the refresher there. Just wanted to bring that up real quick, and now I'll mute myself and be quiet.
Russ, it doesn't appear on mine, and it didn't last time. I know that other people didn't as well. So just so if I'm waving, I'm raising my hand.
Have you maximized your screen, Kathy?
I'd like to try to work through that if we can, because everybody should have that ability. It doesn't.
Yeah, if you click on participants, it should go up to the side. Well, we'll deal with that. Corey?
You found it. All right.
I'm happy for this conversation. This is good for me.
And you can see my hands raised. Everybody
Yes, it
probably
is.
sees it. So now it's not. So raise hand, lower hand.
Yeah, for me, the function goes away when you guys go full screen with your display of your documents. But
Well, you can minimize that time. You just click on the two parallel lines and you can reduce that a little bit.
And also hover below. Like if you hover below the shared screen, you'll see, the participants come up. And if you hit that, then you'll see the feature to raise your hand.
yeah, I'll try to get better at it. But
I think I should get continuing education credit for this.
Sure, why not?
Right. Okay, everyone's situated. So myself and Don Clement and Amy Farnham were on the DPW General Committee this year, and we met with Jen and Jay and out at DPW. Definitely more than once, I think even more than twice, to go over the budget and then CIP and get a handle on, the operating budget and then general projects that they're looking to move forward through CIP this year. So hopefully everybody can see my screen. I've got an Excel spreadsheet of the report that we shared out yesterday, I guess Pam did. Everyone good with that? There are some slight updates to my version that Doreen implemented as a result of just new numbers she had. I think they were, I don't know how consequential they are, but as we go along, Doreen, you'll point them out and we'll update our budgets like we've been doing our paper copies and our binders. So just as an overview, and thank you to the department for meeting with us. And I know you're not, we're not the only committee you meet with. So it's a lot of work and we appreciate, your time on that and on the budget. So as was noted in other budgets we've seen so far during general government and then last week with police and fire, DPW was also tasked with reducing and or freezing many of their budget lines in the spring of this year after the COVID outbreak hit. Throughout our report, we identify some of the more significant ones, so you can see why there's a big goose egg in the current year-to-date spending. The department also approached its 2021 budget much the same way, kind of reducing where they could, taking sort of a scalpel to lines that they felt like they could reduce for a year or so to get by. So many of the 21 lines have been reduced compared to what the department needs. In addition, DPW has a number of capital improvement projects for us to consider this year. Most significant of those include the continued development of plans to replace the DPW garage. Next year would include $150,000 for conceptual designs and getting together a detailed budget. For those of you who were on the committee last year, we allocated $25,000 for DPW to go out and sort of get a big picture overview and start the process on what a DPW garage might look like and what their needs might be. In the PDF of the report that we sent you at the end, there's a multi-paged detail of what was worked on during this year and is about 2/3 or so done getting through that. and also includes some very basic plans of what it might look like, what they might be looking to do from a layout standpoint. Other projects on the CIP for DPW this year will be replacement of the Salem Street utilities. It's a $5.5 million project, as you've seen from the CIP, with a $1 million component that is picked up by property taxes. The other two pieces will be water and sewer. The department continues to work on plans to address the pickpocket dam deficiencies. Also sort of a legacy project we've been trying to work through with the Department of Environmental Services. We have a mandate or a hard deadline of 2025, we understand, for coming up with a plan and implementing a plan to deal with the high hazard designation of that dam, and we'll talk more about that a little bit later on. So in a little bit more background on that project, we allocated $90,000 for this year that was also frozen or not spent on this pickpocket dam project. So the department will be looking for another 300 to keep the project moving and spend the additional 90 from last year or this year all at once in 2021. Finally, the department is looking to replace 3 vehicles, 1 truck, 1 Jeep, and 1 dump truck. And the CIP and the vehicles, as you will note, are at the bottom of our report. Before I keep blabbing on, I guess I would invite Don or Amy to chime in with some overview of their own, if you like, or certainly as I go along, feel free to jump in and don't worry about raising your hand as we move through the budget lines. I know that people will have some commentary. Okay. So I'm just going to move down through the departments. I'll give you our commentary as we go, and then if I'll stop at the end of each department, and you can tell me, or we can talk about items, or we can collect up the hand raisings and dive into some of the questions. So first off, we note that the department deferred hiring an engineering tech until 2021 in line 51110. Salary wages full time. So what we tried to do in the report is highlight anything that had no spending in 2020, and then if we had a recommendation or felt like something needed some further explanation, we gave it as well. And the idea would be that they would hire that engineering tech in 2021. Line 51200, which is salary wages part-time, we noted that there's been $500 allocated for a recording staff person for meetings that does not seem to ever get used.
Hey, Don, did you have something?
No, I was going to wait till it was on that line item. I was going to wait for Corey to finish.
Yeah, I figured you would. Yep. So we noticed that it didn't seem to be spent over the last couple of years. Inquired about it, and Jen said that. Tell me if I'm wrong, but didn't think that it was needed, and we could reduce it down to a placeholder. I know that Don, you had some subsequent conversations with folks on the River Study Committee. You want to talk about that?
Correct. Yeah, the original budget item noted in the comments that it was an allocation for recording secretary for the River Study Committee. So two comments. Number one is that I did check with the River Study Committee chair, and he said they do have someone who does take minutes. They don't meet every month, but that person does take minutes. Why there's nothing paid out this year in 2020, I don't know. Second, if we are going to allocate money for recorders, which we do in other committees, I don't know why it should be in the DPW budget. It's a select board appointed committee. It should be somewhere else in the budget if we're going to allocate monies for that. Russ, do you have any thoughts on that?
So yeah, I mean, the town manager's budget carries some part-time wages, and in terms of, it's really meant, the budget recommendations committee recording secretary is paid out of it. I don't see any reason why we couldn't take that account and use it for the river advisory committee. I think it'll be fine. That's my guess.
Okay.
So presumably the River Advisory Committee recording staff person is getting paid through some other account, right? Don, did you confirm that, or?
I did not confirm that. Maybe that's where the money is being paid out of, not out of the DPW line item budget. That would be something we could charge Doreen to find, but we weren't going to find that out tonight.
Yeah. So do we continue to be okay with our recommendation of keeping this as $1 or nothing in this line in DPW?
You're asking me? I'm good for it, as long as it gets accounted for somewhere else. That's all.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just looking at the amount of times that they've met this year. It's about 6 so far. And Celeste is the recording secretary, at least in these May minutes. So
yes,
we'll have to go back and look at where that was charged to. My guess is that it must have been charged to something. So we'll have to find out where. But it might have been to that catch-all account like I described.
So given that, I would agree that we don't put it in the DPW budget, and that we keep that as a $1 as a placeholder. Because in the future, DPW sometimes hires part-time staff.
And I'm okay with that, and we'll research it as well.
Would you be willing to have that be a motion, Don?
Well, it's already there, the $1.
Well, no, this is our report, not the budget.
If we want to change it, we would have to vote to change it because the current budget stands at $500.
Okay, understood. Move to change the line item 512000 to be $1 for the 2021 budget.
Seconded. This is Amy.
Further discussion? Let me minimize things. I'll take a roll call vote. I will start by saying aye to this motion. Nancy?
Aye.
Kathy?
Aye.
Anna?
Aye.
Kaylee?
Aye.
Liz?
Aye.
Judy?
I to 51200. There are only 2 zeros.
Yes, there were. We knew what he was talking about. Ton Swan?
That's an aye.
Amy? You?
Aye.
Corey?
Aye.
Don Clement?
Aye.
Christine?
Aye.
And Chris?
Aye.
Thank you. It's a vote. Proceed ahead, Corey.
Couple of finance department adjustments here. I don't know that we need to vote on these, Mr. Chair. We could just wait to the end.
I was going to go to the bottom since we don't have any control over these. I was just going to, we needed to vote on the change in the staffing. That would be my take on it. So why don't we proceed to the non-salary component?
Yeah. So moving on down to line 55058, which is contracted services, not contracted services. So the 2020 spending was the $25,000 on the start of the garage upgrade project. Now we'll see that down below as the CIP item for 150. So moving to 55158, insurance reimbursed repairs. I don't know how long this account has been in service. It shows up in other budgets as well. And my understanding of what it is, or our understanding on the subcommittee, is it is a line to draw from in the event that we have damage or need to repair something that our insurance company is going to reimburse us for. But we would have funds available to get the work done before the insurance company gets around to reimbursing us. We happen to have a discussion about that this morning in the water sewer subcommittee meeting with Jen and the gang, and wondered, sort of from a operational standpoint, philosophical, whether we need to have $1,000 placeholders around the operating budget as a whole for these kinds of things, and why can't we take such monies from other accounts temporarily if we know that we're going to be reimbursed by insurance. So the subcommittee had made the recommendation that we reduce that line to $1 anyway, but would be interested in having a little discussion here, Russ, Mr. Chair, about whether that's wise, the thinking behind it, and if we're scuttling a plan.
Before we get into the discussion, Russ, Judy, you had your hand up. Do you still have a question? And Doreen, were you going to weigh in on this? Do you want to go before or after Russ?
I can wait till after Russ. He may cover what I was going to say.
Proceed ahead, Mr. Town Manager.
Sure. So this account, and maybe the name's just a little bit fuzzy, but it's insurance repairs. What happens is, under our insurance with Primex, if we have a vehicle that gets hit or something like that, we have a $1,000 deductible on that we have to pay. And I think that's where the $1,000 comes from. It's per instance. So that's why we budget $1,000, is to cover that deductible. And yes, it's true, we get reimbursed for everything above $1,000. So the line item title is actually appropriate, but the only issue here is obviously DPW did not have any kind of situation this past year where they had something like an auto accident or something like that, where again, we would pay $1,000 deductible, and then Primex would cover the rest of the issue.
Gotcha. And then I think it then becomes the question of, like, do you actually need to have $1,000 sitting around, bad language, so sitting somewhere for a possibility? And, why couldn't it necessarily come from a line that hadn't been spent for the year if we knew we were going to be able to replenish it?
Mm-hmm. And I think that's a reasonable conversation to have. I mean, at the end of the day, if something happened, if we had 2 of these hits, it would be $2,000. If we have 0, like you saw, it's nothing. So we don't, it's not that we can really predict it. So, if we had to chip away and sort of rob Peter to pay Paul with this, we probably could do that and get away with it. I'm going to knock on wood saying that, hoping that I'm not back next year singing a different tune.
Tom?
Yes. Well, it sounds like it's mislabeled. If we do this in our condo association, we have insurance deductibles, and we do budget for insurance deductibles. So it sounds to me like actually this line item is just mislabeled, and that's kind of coloring the conversation about it.
But now that we understand it, does it change the subcommittees?
That's just potato.
Yeah, well, I mean, I certainly, using the word deductible to me, that makes some sense. I still have the question of, does it need to be there at all if there's monies elsewhere to satisfy a deductible?
If I may, it sounds like, unless I misheard Russ, if we have deductibles of 1,000, then any minor damage is going to be $1,000 hit to the budget. It's not going to be reimbursed in the way that we understood it this morning.
True. Yep.
That's my point. So unless I misunderstood Russ, I just wanted to clarify that. So if that's the case, if we end up keeping it, we should relabel it. But if we don't keep it, then we should realize that there's $1,000 hit for every occurrence.
Yep. That is true, Tom. You're right.
I would advocate, I mean, it sounds like this is a placeholder. Effectively, we haven't used it in 2 years. I would advocate with what the committee came up with, allocate $1. If we end up getting a lot of these in some year, then this will be tracking it. But yeah, I think especially given the situation where we're cutting education budgets and conference budgets and things like that, to have $1,000 hanging out there that we've never really used is not really necessary. I think it's worthwhile having it there so Doreen can track it, but I don't think we need to be budgeting a maybe.
Doreen, did you have anything to add to that? I think
the town manager pretty well covered it. Some people don't understand. So when there is, say, a repair, it usually goes to, like, say, if it's a vehicle, it goes under vehicle repairs, and it usually blows up that budget because under the, form of accounting that we have to use, the reimbursement would be shown as a revenue because we have to show gross expenses. So just so that everybody understands that.
Yep.
Okay.
Right. So you've got to have it. You've got to have it in the budget. Everything you anticipate as expense. Yep. You can't offset it with the revenue that comes in. Understood.
Yep.
I'll just add that in the general government section of the budget under insurance, we have a $3,000 line item for deductibles. So, which has been hit once so far this year. So we're actually having a pretty good year. There's only $1,000 spent out of it year to date. So we do have a little bit of a placeholder elsewhere, that $3,000 that we can use.
So what's the subcommittee's pleasure?
I would be inclined to leave it as recommended unless my two colleagues have other thoughts.
Your recommendation or the town's?
Our recommendation, subcommittee.
I think we leave it. Leave it as discussed.
So $1,000.
As discussed being $1.
As discussed being $1. Yes.
Thank you. I will entertain a motion accordingly.
I would make the motion.
Second?
Seconded.
Judy? So the motion on line 55158, insurance reimbursed repairs, is to reduce it to $1. Would be a reduction of $999 to the budget. I will vote aye to this motion. Nancy?
Aye.
Kathy?
Aye.
Anna?
Aye.
Kaylee?
Nay.
Judy?
Aye.
Tom?
Aye.
Amy?
Aye.
Corey?
Aye.
Don Clement?
Aye.
Christine?
Aye.
And Chris Sigmund?
Aye.
And Liz?
Aye.
Thank you. Proceed, Corey.
Next line, we noted just no spending on this year was radio repair, $1,000. Historical spending is intermittent.
Radio replacement.
Sorry?
Radio replacement.
Oh, I'm sorry. What did I say?
Repairs.
Radio repairs. My bad. So thank you. 55238. The intermittent spending over the last couple of years, subcommittee recommended leaving the level at 1,000, given it is radios that are integral to the functioning of the department in an emergency or any other time. So that moves us out of admin and engineering.
Do we have a new budget for that, Doreen?
Yes, as reflected on your screen, the new DPW administration and engineering total is $405,359. And again, that's 405,359.
I'll entertain a motion for that number.
So moved.
Second.
That was you, Judy, second?
Yes.
Thank you. I will vote aye on this motion. Nancy?
Aye.
Kathy?
Aye.
Anna?
Aye.
Kaylee?
Aye.
Judy?
Aye.
Tom Swan?
Aye.
Amy?
Aye.
Corey?
Aye.
Don Clement?
Aye.
Christine?
Aye.
Liz?
Aye.
And Chris?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, highways and streets.
Highways and streets. Also a budget that saw several accounts underspent or not spent at all in 2020. Starting with 55013 asphalt reclamation, no spending or spending was suspended in the spring, but they will need to spend in 2021. So the budget is what it was last year or this year. Moving to.
So we haven't spent anything on that yet?
No, and I don't think we're going to, if I'm not mistaken. Jen, did you want to add anything?
No, that's correct. We have stockpiled the material and will be including it with all the other material for next year.
Next line down, 55020 bridge repairs, also not spent in 2020. 2021, we'll be doing repairs necessary to the Garrison Lane Bridge decking. It's on the state's red list. Repairs are going to be done in-house, which I'll add in sort of as a side note that many of the things that the DPW did this year or ways that they reduced their budget and will do so in 2021 is to do things in-house. And that was everything from repairs like this to I think we talked about using staff for traffic management at project sites where we might have used police in the past. I think Jay made note of that or something, but just using inside staff as much as we could to take care of things. So right, no spending in 2020. Our budget is going up 18,500 to 24,000 for 2021. And that will be to take care of the Garrison Lane bridge decking.
Okay.
Another account not spent this year, the 55107 equipment rentals. Tree maintenance budget was underspent, not spent in 20. Lots of borrowing, bucket trucks from the fire department to do up, higher tree maintenance. The department noted that this is not a sustainable, model forever, and they will need to normalize their budget at some point on lines like this and others. They have managed to decrease the budget for 2021 by $5,000 over the 2020's budgeted amount.
Tom?
Question for Jen or Jay regarding that. In the civilian world, if a tree is on your property and it falls on your neighbor's land, then unfortunately it's the neighbor's responsibility. I notice here and there in the town that the town very kindly takes care of trees that land on private property. Is there some kind of a policy regarding that? And is there any concern about the costs associated with that to the general taxpayer?
Tom, we generally will take care of the trees that fall from the right of way. We clean it up off the private property, but we don't cut trees on private property. So it's either falling on or it's overhanging the town's right of way. Does that answer your question?
It does. It does. Yeah, sometimes it's a pretty substantial amount of work when a tree lands on private property. Admittedly, it came from the town right of way, but.
Right.
Christine?
You're muted.
Chris, did you still have a question?
Yes, I did. Well, first, I think that's awesome that they're able to work with the fire department and use their bucket truck. And I know you said it's not sustainable, but I'm so curious how you managed to pull that off and to do that.
We just had access to their truck a lot more this year, and another crew went short, but we're just trying to cover the expenses in-house as much as we possibly can, and along with getting lucky so far this year with major storms.
Okay. Well, kudos. And if you guys can, I mean, obviously, put in the budget what you guys need, but if you can pull that off again in the future, even just a little, that would be awesome.
We're going to try.
Hey, nice work. Thank you. And thank you to the fire department for working with you.
Russ?
Yeah, I was just going to say real quick that the new fire chief, Eric Wilking, he presented on Monday a plan. Today is Thursday, right? Presented a plan to the select board, and it's in their packet if you want to look at it, to actually get us out of the fire alarm maintenance business, because we are eliminating boxes, which is a really old technology. So by virtue of doing that, we likely will be able to get the bucket truck over to DPW far more frequently. So that's going to be one of the benefits of getting out of that end of the business.
Okay.
Remember this discussion. There'll be more on alarms in the future. Okay, so moving down line 55067, culvert replacement. Limited spending in 2020. Plan was to replace a culvert out at Tamman Lane. However, that project is being pushed off until 21. Budget line is the same for 2021. 67.
A quick question.
Yes.
Since I was going back and forth and trying to find this, I thought we had a capital outlay section in general public works, and there it is. Is it worth putting the Garrison Lane project as a capital outlay project since it's a one-off? I mean, I understand that we can reduce it next year and go back to, $5,000 or $6,000 for the bridge repairs, but it seems like it's such a specific project that it might be worth budgeting as a capital outlay. I know we historically do that in water and sewer. If there's a special project, then it goes in capital outlay generally, as opposed to the budget. I didn't know.
I would think that the nature of the work that they do in 55020 bridge repairs is similar to what they're doing out at Garrison Lane with that bridge, but it does bring to question, like, at what point does something become more of a capital outlay than just a standard everyday repair? Maybe Jen has something.
Sure.
Or Don, yeah.
I wanted to weigh in.
Yeah.
May I weigh into that question before Jen does?
Sure.
Again, this is maintenance work, Bob.
Okay.
This is not dissimilar to what we spent double that, triple that on repairing the cupola. And that was not a capital improvements project. So we're not replacing the bridge. We're replacing the decking, which is something that we did similarly, I'm going to say 12 years ago to the Pickpocket Bridge. So I think where it's maintenance of an existing structure is, if it was a $100,000 project, I'd think differently. But this is maintenance project being done labor to maintain a town structure. So I could argue that it's still to stay within the budget because it needs to get done.
Sure.
Not this year; it needs to get done soon. So
yeah, it's more semantics than anything else. I was just wondering.
Yeah.
Then that's a very reasonable explanation.
Well,
Thank
my
you.
explanation.
Well, it's very reasonable.
Jen may have. Go ahead.
And if it helps, I think that Don's concept is consistent here, where the Tamarin Lane culvert replacement would be likely done by outside forces. It's unlikely that our forces would be doing that, whereas Garrison Lane bridge repairs will be done within internal forces.
Sounds reasonable. Anything else on highway and streets, Corey?
Yeah, we're moving down here. 55266, sidewalks and curbing. The department had reduced the budget by $5,000 for 2021, just to sort of cut costs where they could and live with it for a year. I know that we've had some internal discussion on the subcommittee about the appropriateness of that. So, Don, do you want to talk about that some more?
Yeah, just quickly. This is a broader discussion that probably Nico. I hope you're listening to this one because I think it's more directed to the select board in terms of select board directives and town.
I'm all ears, Don.
Good. Well, okay. We had a discussion amongst us in the subcommittee that there are some sidewalks in town, existing sidewalks, that are in really rough shape and really need to be repaired. They're not new sidewalks, or it's not part of the capital improvements program for new sidewalks. It's repairs to existing sidewalks. There are a few in town that are really in pretty rough shape. And we were just wondering if this is it could be a directive or something to let the DPW know, the town know that this should be addressed next year. And if it is, we want to make sure there's enough money in the budget to handle that.
Which
Again,
ones
it's
are we
not a new
talking
sidewalk.
about?
It's repairing some pretty rough sidewalks. And we're thinking specifically one from Railroad Avenue all the way to where it intersects again with Winter Street by Kids Park. That sidewalk is very well used and is in really rough shape. There are a couple of others in town that probably, rise to that level of bad sidewalks. But this is a discussion that we want to make sure there was money in the budget. But in terms of, we can't, as a budget committee or a subcommittee, direct the DPW to take care of fix bad sidewalks. That would probably needs to come from the board, select board. So again, it's a broader discussion that needs to be done, needs to be talked about at a different level than the budget committee. But the budget committee's job is to make sure there's money in the budget to do that, should that directive take place.
Yes, and I would ask, Jen, do you feel like at 10 grand we're falling behind, or can we get to the things like that Don's pointing out, trouble spots like that, with that level of funding for a year?
I know that there's a lot of areas that need to be maintained and do require immediate repair, and it's always a challenge. I think that it's in the $10,000 to $15,000 range. I can't say a specific number. Jay and I always discuss what the next areas are, and he does a great job. He and his crews do a great job of doing a lot of the the smaller maintenance areas on their own with our equipment. Essentially, this is just the monies that are needed for pavement for those jobs. So it's also a management and ability to get the work done. There's only so much time that our crews have to do the work. And I don't know, Jay can weigh into if it makes a big difference for next year with what we have on our plate.
Yeah, Jen's correct. It's more of patching and keeping them safe. As Don just mentioned, the Winter Street sidewalk, it's been patched. It's not hazardous, but it's still aesthetically unpleasing, like most of our sidewalks in that area. But we do keep them safe. We monitor them. Any trip hazards will come out immediately, and we'll take care of them from calls we get or what the crews see. So as Jen said, this is mostly materials for asphalt and for the maintenance of the sidewalks that we currently have, not new ones.
Back in the day, like 4 or 5 years ago, Jay, and prior to that, the sidewalk upkeep was part of the paving budget. And then we separated it out of, I think, 3 years ago. Since has the paving budget been frozen? Or I know you do a lot of your work in the fall and you just did the big job on Epping Road. Is there room in that if something did, present itself, that it's worth that we could do that as part of that budget, like the old days?
We do that currently on the ones that are in really severe condition. We just did a stretch on Basel Ave. We'll do it at the same time. And there's a couple other areas in town that we've paved this year, the sidewalk right along with the street, when we can.
Okay.
If it warrants. I mean, if it's safe but just not aesthetically pleasing, we don't spend the money unless it's really broken down and hazardous.
Okay, thanks.
Amy, did you have any, I guess the committee in general, do we want to make a change here, or Don, are you satisfied? And Amy, do you have any follow-up thoughts?
I guess I feel like if, Jay and Jen think that $10,000 will cover what's needed to keep the sidewalks safe, then I agree with that.
Russ?
Yeah, I was just going to say, remember, we have a capital reserve fund for sidewalks too, and it has $85,000 in it as of the end of 2019 that we haven't spent. So, I mean, that's something to take into consideration. There's money there to be spent, but like Jennifer said, it's just a matter of being able to get to the projects.
It's the jobs, yep.
So we do have funds.
Yeah, that's a nice safety net.
Okay.
Any comments on storm drain cleaning, folks? If not, we'll go right to a vote. Hearing nothing, I will, what's the updated total for highways and streets, please, Doreen?
2 million.
So I'm sorry, what did we decide on the sidewalks, that we're leaving that?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so the total for DPW, highway and streets is $2,017,597. Again, that's 2017597.
So moved. Thanks, Nancy.
Second, Chris Suter.
Thank you, Chris. Any further discussion? Russ, did you still have something? Or
yeah, just real quick, I just wanted to add that the 85,000 that I mentioned, we also added 60,000 this year. So that won't show up until for the trustees report until the end of 2020. But the current balance in the fund is actually that 85 plus another 60. So it's 145.
Great. On the motion of $2,017,597 for highway and streets, I vote aye. Kathy?
Aye.
Nancy?
Aye.
Anna?
Aye.
Kaylee?
Aye.
Judy?
Aye.
Tan Swan?
Aye.
Amy?
Aye.
Corey?
Aye.
Don Clement?
Aye.
Christine?
Aye.
Liz?
Aye.
Chris Sigmund?
Aye.
Thank you. Judy, did you have something to add?
Just on Russ's point about the sidewalk fund, am I remembering correctly that that was for the new style of sidewalk, a new sidewalk, not just repair of the asphalt sidewalk?
So the capital reserve fund can be for either new sidewalk or existing sidewalk maintenance. But just understand that concrete sidewalks, if you're talking about new style, that's been identified for only the core areas, the larger arterial roadways. That's not necessarily what will be used in residential areas and things of that nature. We'll still be using predominantly asphalt, and concrete is for places like Water Street, Front Street, where it's higher traffic.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Moving down into snow removal. No spending on contracted snow removal so far this year, 55061. They reduced by $5,000 for the 2021 budget. Seemed reasonable to the subcommittee. I took a look at spending over all the years we've had so far in our reports, and it comes around 41,000 average. We still haven't really seen what Lincoln Street is going to look like for plowing once we have some real snow out there and with the new sidewalks. So it seemed reasonable to leave it at the department's recommended amount.
Sounds good.
And that's all we had on snow removal.
Okay, no health in this one, so the number is it still the 311,190?
Yes, it is.
I will entertain a motion for that amount for snow removal. Tom, did you have something, a question?
Yeah, just a quick question about calcium chloride for Jen. Where do you account for the sidewalks, or the concrete sidewalks, relative to keeping them from freezing?
I'm actually going to ask Jay to comment on that, because we have piloted using some other materials in the sidewalk area, so he might be able to add to this.
We use a chemical de-icer as a pre-treatment, but predominantly we use a salt and sand mixture. It doesn't hurt the concrete, the new concretes today, but we have a very aggressive sealing program with Selene siloxane, so they don't fall and fall apart like you see a lot when you get out of town on the medians. We do all the concrete areas every other year. And we do our concrete bridges and also the train station. So as long as we keep that up, it'll extend the life of them indefinitely.
Thank you.
Motion on the snow removal budget?
I move 311,190.
Second.
Okay, roll call vote. Nancy?
Aye.
Kathy?
Aye.
Anna?
Aye.
Kaylee?
Aye.
Judy?
Aye.
Tan Swan?
Aye.
Amy?
Aye.
Corey?
Aye.
Don Clement?
Aye.
Christine?
Aye.
Liz?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Thank you.
All right, moving to solid waste disposal. First line that jumps out is 55018, which is our blue bag budget. Going to go up by $40,000 by the proposed budget for 2021. The backstory on that from our conversations is that the account has kind of always been lagging behind what it truly is for expenditure, and putting 40,000 into it kind of brings it more in line with what we are going to spend on blue bags. Jen noted that we're experiencing an increase in the waste tonnage, both recycling and garbage overall. As well, which will feed into a line a couple down here. But they're buying more bags as well. So in the big sort of macroeconomic equation on blue bags is we get about 600,000 in revenue from blue bags, and we spend around 115,000, which leaves 485,000 to offset other expenses in the solid waste budget.
Excellent.
Line 55082 is the disposal recycling contract. It's got an annual escalator in it of around 3%. As I mentioned, we are seeing an increase in solid waste and recycling tonnage. So you have $1,020,000 in the prelim budget. It's been increased since then to $1,030,000 for a $10,000 increase based on recalculations that Jen did here in the last, I guess, month or so.
I should probably know this, but if the escalator is 3% in the contract, then why does it only go up 1.8%? Are there other things in there, or are the recycling and disposal contracts slightly different?
So there's a couple of things going on there. And as Corey just said, when we start the budget process, we didn't have our invoices for much of this summer. And we were seeing ranging increases from 10% to 20% increases as far as our tonnage. But yes, Bob, there are other aspects that don't increase. They're not fee-based, and it's purely based on, recycling is not an automatic increase. It's based on the value of that material. So that kind of levels it out a little bit.
Excellent.
I'm trying to.
What's that, Don?
The other thing is that our fiscal year is January 1 to December 31. However, the contract, I think, becomes effective in May of next year. Jen, is that right?
It's June 1st through May 31st. Yeah.
So it's not a full year of the 3% escalator, Bob.
Yeah, but
it's a 3% escalator, but it doesn't kick in until June. That make sense?
Yeah, but it's 3% by contract starting in 17. But Jen answered the question. With the recycling mixed in there, that would ameliorate the 3%, and that's why it's 1.8 on the line. So that makes sense. I didn't know if this was the whole waste management solid waste contract, but obviously it's not.
You've lost me.
Bob, just to follow up too, now with that additional $10,000 that the subcommittee is recommending, it's actually a 2.8% increase. So it's actually getting closer to that 3% annual.
Okay.
Okay. Next line, 55086, brush grinding. not spent a lot in 2020 so far. We understand there will be additional spending in 2020. I think what the department is finding in general is that we started out thinking we were going to need to grind 4 times a year, and they're doing it less frequently than that, more like 2 times a year. So they're actually dropping their 2021 budget by $8,000 to 15. Landfill monitoring 55163, going up by $30,000. 2020 budget will be spent by the end of the year. The $30,000 increase, I'm going to say this is a result of, in part, a $75,000 spend within the $100,000 budget on slope and cap repairs and settlement assessment coming in 21. This is in addition to annual testing that gets done on the landfill. This is pricing from GZA Environmental and contractors that would do the repair work on the site.
Jen, could you just provide a little backstory on that and what DES's position is on this and how it came about?
So we do annual monitoring of the CAP, and we do have to report to New Hampshire DES. And over the last couple of years, it has been noted that there's been some settlement in the CAP area, and it does need to be addressed. Our report to DES for 2019 and 20 discussed that, and they are requesting that that work be done in 2021. We'll have to do a final assessment in the spring to make sure that we're getting, all the proper estimates to do the work and have a detailed scope of work for contractors to be able to bid on. And then conduct that work in the spring.
Does the settlement, because I know a lot of the old landfill drains onto other town land that we currently use for public works purposes. So does this, the settlement and the slope situation impact our operations, or was there an exposure of old solid waste that was a hazardous situation, or what exactly was the genesis of us needing to jump right on this?
So the concept is making sure that the CAP is the right topography, if you will. So if there's an excessive amount of settlement, it could potentially cause the CAP membrane to be damaged, and that would be a really big fix. So it's trying to address it before it gets to that point. And same thing with slope stabilization. We have to keep those slopes. You want to have adequate cover over the cap and good material growing. And we do have some fairly steep slopes on the western side of the landfill and the southern side. And those areas occasionally need to be addressed.
Did you say the DES gave us some sort of directive or a letter on the scope, or is that something we developed based on what we found?
So our annual report is a co-work between the town and GZA, our consultants, and then DES does review it. They do a site review, and they will provide further input on what should be done, and they have done that. I don't think it's not a letter of deficiency, but it's definitely an understanding that this work does need to proceed.
But from our perspective, it's more of a maintenance thing to prevent bigger problems down the road than anything that they've necessarily asked us to do.
Correct. Yep.
Okay, great. Judy?
Pardon my ignorance in this area. Does this seepage in any way have anything to do with the Exeter River and groundwater infiltration in any way?
No, this is a fairly typical over time, materials in a landfill are going to degenerate and consolidate, and there's settlement that goes on. And so you have to continually maintain the integrity of the cap. And it will likely be that there's material that has to be brought in to support the cap. Essentially, the cap is on top. It's a membrane material. And if it's starting to decrease, there's some kind of sagging going on. There's some consolidation of the waste material underneath. And we need to make sure that the cap is it's continuous and sloped properly.
Thank you. So this doesn't have anything to do with what's happening on the bottom of the old landfill material?
No.
Anything else in solid waste, Corey?
Let's see. 55186 is metal removal. We just took a look at the historical spending, noted that it's more in line with about 1,500. Subcommittee recommended a $1,500 reduction, which Jen was okay with. So we are reducing that line, or proposing, by $1,500 to $1,500. And I would make a motion.
Well, let's get, because we still need to do the disposal contract. So we'll do that when you're done with the division.
Yep. 55244 recycled containers. 2020 budget has been exceeded at this point. And then tire disposal 55300. Typically spent in the fourth quarter, I believe. Actually, third quarter, because we just recently did a haul away on tires. So, and that was it.
Judy, do you still have a question?
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I do not.
Okay.
You gotta send your hands, Judy.
I will entertain a motion to adjust line 55082 disposal and recycling contract to $1,030,000.
So moved, Pursuiter.
Second, Nancy Belanger.
Any further discussion? Nancy, how would you vote?
Aye.
Kathy?
Aye.
Anna?
Aye.
Judy?
Aye.
Tom Zwan?
Aye.
Corey?
Aye.
Christine?
Aye.
Liz?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
Don Clement?
Aye.
Amy?
Aye.
And Kaylee?
Aye.
And I vote aye. And I would entertain a motion to adjust line 55186 metal removal to $1,500, down $1,500 for the budget.
So moved.
Second, Judy Rowan.
I'm going to give that to Amy since she tried to move it as well.
I won.
Any further discussion? Nancy, how do you vote?
Aye.
Kathy?
Aye.
Anna?
Aye.
Judy?
Aye.
Tom Zwan?
Aye.
Corey?
Aye.
Christine?
Aye.
Liz?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
Don Clement?
Aye.
Amy?
Aye.
Kaylee?
Aye.
And I vote aye. So the new solid waste total, Doreen, please.
Yes, the new solid waste total is $1,388,385, and that's 1,388,385.
So moved.
Second, Chris Suter.
Any further discussion? Nancy, how do you vote?
Aye.
Kathy?
Aye.
Anna?
Aye.
Judy?
Aye.
Tom Zwan?
Sorry, aye.
Corey,
Aye.
Christine,
Aye.
Liz,
Aye.
Chris,
Aye.
Don Clement,
Aye.
Amy,
Aye.
Kaylee,
Aye.
and I vote aye. Thank you. Streetlights, Corey?
Not a whole lot there. Just note that the line is, underspent for 2020. It's just a luck of the draw. We've got, a handful of lights in town that need maintenance, and some years you have it, some years you don't. Budget has been reduced by $1,340 from 20 down to $9,000. I'm sorry, that was 55303.
Right. Any questions or further discussion? I will move the streetlight total of $169,000.
So moved.
Second.
Chris Suter.
Nancy, how do you vote?
Aye.
Kathy?
Aye.
Anna?
Aye.
Judy?
Aye.
Tom Swan?
Aye.
Corey?
Aye.
Christine?
Aye.
Liz?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
Don Clement?
Aye.
Amy?
Aye.
Kaylee?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Okay, stormwater?
Another budget that really was put on hold, I think, for most of 2020 on 55058 contracted services. About 16,000 has been encumbered year to date as of our discussions. And I think there will be spending. They have reduced that line by $6,000 in 2021. They've also reduced 55270 software agreements by $6,000 to $54,000.
Any comments or discussion? I would entertain a motion for $54,000 for a stormwater total.
So moved.
So moved. Oh, I'll second.
Okay. Nancy, how do you vote?
Aye.
Kathy?
Aye.
Anna?
Aye.
Judy?
Aye.
Tom?
Aye.
Corey?
Aye.
Christine?
Aye.
Liz?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
Don Clement? Don? You were muted, sorry.
I'm unmuted. Aye, sorry.
Amy?
Aye.
Kaylee?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Okay, you want to go over maintenance, Corey?
Do we need to do anything with this line 160 subtotal before maintenance, Bob, or?
I wouldn't say so. It sort of falls together with everything above it personally. But we'll vote on a bottom line.
Great. So public works maintenance, nothing in the first and general section for us. Line 55048, no spending year to date as of our discussions, but will be spent. It's People GIS implementation, and the 3,000 is an annual amount. We do have a COVID-19 expense line of $11,000. It is, I think we've talked about this in other budgets, maybe not, segregated for tracking purposes, cleaning and supplies there. Couple of small lines, 55173 and 176, licenses and maintenance building materials that will be spent by the end of the year. They've got no spending presently. that is brings us down to a general maintenance total.
Yeah, that looks like it changed a little bit. Can you just read that off for the viewing public, Doreen?
Yes, the new general maintenance total is $548,185. And again, that's 548,185.
Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Quick question. So the 11,000, is it hope that that's going to be reimbursed then by some fund?
Let's hope so.
Doubt it.
That would be great. Remember, they're still trying to work out that second relief package, right? So we'll see.
Do I hear a second to the motion?
Yes.
Nancy, how do you vote?
Aye.
Kathy?
Aye.
Anna?
Aye.
Judy?
Aye.
Tom Swan?
Aye.
Corey?
Aye.
Christine?
Aye.
Liz?
Aye.
Chris? Don Clement?
Aye.
Amy?
Aye.
Kaylee?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Okay, town buildings. You had a recommendation on that, Corey?
We actually don't. We have an adjustment to natural gas after Jen took a closer look at the original draft budget for 2021. It goes back down to the number for 20, which is 60,700. So it's a decrease of 10,000 from what was been proposed. And then it looks like there's a small increase from Doreen on the platform lease liability.
Okay, so now you said you reduced it to, so the reduction is what, the 10.7 or 10? Because the increase was 10.7.
It should be the 2020 budget number of 60,000, if I'm not mistaken, Jen.
I'm checking that again.
I mean, not that 700 is going to break us, but.
Yes, it should be the $60,000.
Any further discussion on that? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I've got 4 spreadsheets open, just so you know. No, they're correct. The subcommittee is correct in recommending the 60,700.
So it's going to go up $700.
I believe that's correct. We spent a fair amount of time on this, so I apologize.
We have nothing further, Bob.
I mean, well, I guess it doesn't matter that much. It's just, I know in the past we generally budget that at a fairly round number, and then it sort of is what it is, but I guess it will be what it will be. Is that your recollection, Corey, that you were going to reduce it by 10 and that was the agreement with Public Works?
These are just the numbers that Jen gave us.
Yeah, I apologize again. I keep going back and forth. My numbers do show it as 60,000, keeping it the same as 2020.
That would make somewhat more sense.
Okay.
So I would entertain a motion on line 52210, the town buildings natural gas subcomponent for $60,000.
So moved.
Second, Judy.
Nancy, how do you vote?
Aye.
Kathy? Anna?
Aye. Sorry. Aye.
Judy?
Aye.
Tom Swan?
Aye.
Corey?
Aye.
Christine?
Aye.
Liz?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
Don Clement? You around?
Aye.
Thank you. Amy?
Aye.
Kaylee?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Okay. So the building subtotal, just to refresh our memory, Doreen?
Yes, the building's total is $941,630. And that's again 94160.
No, I'm talking about just the town buildings.
Buildings. Oh,
subtotal.
sorry about that.
Not a problem.
Yeah, so that's 293,445. I agree with the total.
445?
Yeah, so I agree with what Corey has, the 293,445.
Yeah, I'd just like to have it verbalized for the, if people aren't on a screen.
Of course.
I would entertain a motion for that number.
So moved.
Second, Chris Suter.
Thank you. Nancy, how do you vote?
Aye.
Kathy?
Aye.
Anna?
Aye.
Judy?
Aye.
Tom Swan?
Aye.
Corey?
Aye.
Christine?
Aye.
Liz?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
Don Clement?
Aye.
Amy?
Aye.
Kaylee?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Okay. Maintenance projects.
All right. So every year the DPW has a laundry list that's longer than $100,000 of maintenance projects that it attends to around town on buildings, I guess primarily, and other structures as we'll talk about. There is a maintenance project list on tab 8 of our binder for this year. At the way back, it'll show you what they have on their slate or think they're going to be able to get to in 2021. Projects this year around town included repairs to the town hall cupola, repairs to town office roof, and the addition of a bathroom in public safety. There is nothing in the year-to-date spending on our draft budget that we have. We are waiting for invoices from the vendor, the contractor that did the cupola repairs, and I don't know what else is not yet recorded in that line, but cupola repairs, I think, are somewhere in the $55,000 to $60,000 range, roughly speaking, maybe more, but somewhere in that range. I've got a note. Yep, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
Nope.
Doreen, when you and I spoke a month or so ago, you had indicated there was an encumbrance for 26.5. Was that part of the cupola project or was that for something else?
Yes, that was part of the cupola project.
Okay,
I don't have any expenditures through September 30th. The work was being done in October.
Right.
Yep.
What about for roof repairs and in the public safety bathroom? How's that?
So the town office roof repairs was done by the same contractor and wrapping up at the same time. We haven't received that invoice yet.
So is this line outside of the cupola project, would this be frozen for the rest of the year, or is there room to do other projects between now and the end of the year?
So my understanding is that with the completion of these 3 projects, and understand the cupola project or the town hall project was more than just the cupola. There was also a lot of rot that had to be taken, wood rot from the soffits and that area. We're going to be done. I don't think we're doing any more work. We're going to be very close to the total amount, which we were approved at, of $76,500. That it would include the encumbrance from last year.
Okay. Any questions? Anna?
I just see the note here on the boardwalk repairs. Is that something we need to
Yeah,
know about?
so I was going to make a note that we talked about in subcommittee moving the boardwalk up here. I think maybe when we get down to CIP, Anna, we'll talk about those projects, and then, but this is where it could possibly land.
Which, since we don't micromanage the department and tell them what projects to do, if they wanted to do that as part of this, then it would just be part of the 100,000. If we suggest that's the way it's going.
Right. Or yeah, it's a discussion to be had, I think, but
discussion to be had. Does that answer your question, Anna? I would entertain a motion to approve the maintenance projects budget of $100,000.
So moved.
Second, Judy.
Can I ask a question before we?
Certainly.
Would we want to do that if we're potentially going to move something into it, and it's not set in stone that the number would stay at 100,000 if we did move it up there? I think it's worthy of a discussion.
Well, then the discussion.
Reopen it. You could reopen.
We can reopen it easy enough, but also there's a multifaceted discussion, because the discussion might be, since we spent 71,000 last year and 76 this, there might be a discussion that it just fits in, but that would be part of the discussion. So Don?
You guys, sorry, you just said what I was going to say. We can reopen this at the last night. So if we vote a particular number, and based on the discussion of CIP, we decide something goes back in the budget, that line item can be reopened and we can revote the budget. Right. I think Russ just mentioned that in the background. So we can vote on it tonight, knowing that we still can reopen if we have to, or if we want to.
I was going to say maybe we just have the discussion, but at the same time, if people haven't had a chance to really dig into CIP, I would hate to, not allow that for them. So maybe we just move on.
Tom, did you have a question?
Yes. I would observe that the list, the proposed list looks less onerous than it has in previous years as well. So maybe there's some wiggle room there, as you suggested as well.
Right. But we will talk about that in 3 weeks. Okay, moved and seconded. Nancy, how do you vote on the motion?
Aye.
Kathy?
Aye.
Anna?
Aye.
Judy?
Aye.
Tom?
Aye.
Corey?
Aye.
Christine?
Aye.
Liz?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
Don Clement?
Aye.
Amy?
Aye.
Kaylee?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Not sure why we have a subtotal, but I'm going to proceed ahead to Mechanics Garage. Anybody who wants to come with me can.
All right. Well, it's going to be a quick walk through the garage because we didn't have any notes or other recommendations.
Updated number with health, Doreen?
Yes, the total mechanics garage is $273,034. Again, that's 273,034.
Any further questions or discussion? I'll entertain a motion for that number.
So moved.
Second, Judy.
Nancy, how do you vote?
Yes.
Kathy?
Okay, yes.
Anna?
Yes.
Judy?
Aye.
Tom?
Aye.
Corey?
Aye.
Christine?
Aye.
Liz?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
Don Clement?
Aye.
Amy?
Aye.
Kaylee?
Aye.
And I vote aye. So a total public works budget, Doreen.
Okay, the total public works budget is $5,560,195. And again, that is 5560195.
So moved.
Second, Judy.
That is an excellent piece of work by the subcommittee and the department. I think we thank you. Any further discussion? Nancy, how do you vote? Russ?
Sorry, go ahead. You're about to vote.
We're getting ready to vote. You didn't have anything on this?
No, I had something else once you're done.
Cool. Nancy?
Aye.
Kathy?
Aye.
Anna?
Aye.
Judy?
Aye.
Tom Zwan?
Aye.
Corey?
Aye.
Christine?
Aye.
Liz?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
Don Clement?
Aye.
Amy?
Aye.
Kaylee?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Thank you very much. Go ahead, Russ.
You're on mute, Russ.
Yeah, I just wanted to briefly, is it possible, maybe Corey can stop sharing his screen so I can share mine? Is that possible?
Yep.
Do you mind doing that?
Sure.
I just wanted to spend a minute. I won't take too much of your time.
We'll come back to this for CIP and vehicle conversation.
I just wanted to show everybody just a little bit of preview here that this House Bill HB 1129 that passed to deal with town meetings during the pandemic has created an alternate process for town meeting. And as you can see, it says 2020 and 2021, and it's due to COVID-19. And basically, it talks about a virtual meeting and then amendments of warrant articles and so forth, and then an information session. Now, this part deals with drive-up procedures, and also there's an ability to have the amended warrant right here. The governing body can discuss, debate, and be permitted to amend the posted warrant. So this is actually an alternate form of town meeting, and we'll be getting more information out there about this, but we've been already talking to the moderator about some adjustments. We're going to try to get through next Tuesday first, and then have a conversation, obviously, at the select board level and so forth, to see where we're going to go for this year's town meeting coming up. So it's going to be a little bit different. And that's all I had.
Should be interesting to see how that goes with a crowd that size, you know?
Sure.
Okay, Corey, you sort of touched on it in the beginning. Is there anything else you want to talk about regarding CIP, things for us to think about over the next few weeks in particular?
Sure. We might as well take a look since they're big items. I think I shared my screen again. Can everyone see the spreadsheet or not?
Yep.
All right, cool. So a few CIP items for DPW this year. I talked about the DPW garage. So as we said, in 2020, we had appropriated $25,000 to sort of get the ball rolling. I mentioned at the back of our report, there's a scope of work with some drawings of what things might look like. We've spent about 2/3 of the $25,000 so far this year. And now the department is looking to take it to the next step, which would be, more conceptual design and some budgeting. Knowing that, so I'll give you our recommendation at this point. Knowing that the public safety building project was going to get $100,000 this upcoming year to do more work on that project, we thought it appropriate to level fund for the two projects at the $100,000 level. So when we can have more discussion about that on CIP night. Pickpocket dam reclassification, made note that it's been deemed a high hazard dam for the impact it could have on a severe storm. I'm paraphrasing and summarizing heavily here based on my overall knowledge of it. We appropriated $90,000 last year. Next level would be to appropriate $300,000 in 21, all working towards getting a feasibility study that is due to DES by June of 2022. I guess we'd like to have the town maybe talk about that before CIP night a little bit more in terms of, how hard is our 2025 date? Because 2025 is when we're supposed to have this project all, wrapped up with a bow and wherever it's going to be is going to be. And there's a lot of work to do between now and then. So is that a hard date? We didn't feel the subcommittee was in a position to evaluate that. I know that you've had discussions with the state, but I think we'd like to hear from the town on CIP night about that date and then the roadmap to get there before we make a decision.
Sorry.
Yes.
I just wanted to add a little bit of more detail to the June 2022. It's not just to complete the feasibility study itself, it's actually to have the recommended alternative that the town will be moving forward with. Okay. So the feasibility study needs to be completed sooner in order to have all those discussions and decisions made.
Okay, understood. Thank you.
Yep.
Next is the Salem Street utility replacements. It's a project that is fully engineered at this point and ready for next steps, which would be to begin the project. $5.5 million project with $1,660,000 in the general fund under property taxes. Sidewalk repair program, I've got it here. We've got it here because it was in the CIP book, but I don't see it on at one of the warrants. And if I could zero it out in the warrant list, are we not evaluating that this year?
So when I put together the preliminary budget, it was looking at appropriations year over year and trying to defer some things. So, we can have that conversation on CIP night because, as you know, I did the preliminary budget before we got our health insurance numbers and things like that. So we can come back to a couple of these things, but I would say that, with $144,000 in the capital reserve fund right now for sidewalks, I think we're in pretty good shape for 2021. And then you can figure out what you want to do on the waterfront seawall repairs.
Yes.
Is there, regarding the seawall repairs, is there anything on that, like a write-up or anything more substantive that would give us an idea of like a structural analysis? Are we at risk of anything happening out there? Just some data that we could consider between now and 3 weeks from now?
There is not, and this was just to do repairs to the existing wooden walkway and rails. It was not to do any major modifications. I know in the CIP a year or two ago, we did show, basically a completely renovated walkway that would be more of a bricked sidewalk on top of a seawall, like you do see right there in Stewart's Park. So this is just to buy us maybe another five or so years before we have to make a major decision about what type of facility and, move forward at that point. Is this something
that we would do in-house?
Yes. So this was essentially the materials cost, a very conservative estimate of materials cost, because this would be done in-house.
Okay. Because again, it seems like we're sort of underspending, and I understand this year there are reasons for it, but we still have a couple years left. And just discussing this with the subcommittee, it seems like with this being a maintenance issue, maybe it's worth phasing it over the next several years, including maybe this year. I mean, I know the price of lumber is up, but if we have some room in the budget, maybe spending a few $1,000s this year to start doing some of that work, and I think sort of chipping away at this rather than a big $25,000 nugget might be something to consider. Again, we can discuss it more in 3 weeks, but I wanted to throw that out there because that had been sort of batted around a little bit on the subcommittee level. So just something to consider, I think, if you would.
And Bob.
Excuse me, Bob.
Sure, Don.
Yeah, the subcommittee did kick this around. The consensus, a lot of discussion in the subcommittee was, while we understood the need to do some maintenance work, we didn't really feel that the entire boardwalk was in that bad a condition that it warranted $25,000 worth of materials. We certainly felt that there were floorboards and railings that probably needed to be fixed or replaced, but not to the tune of $25,000. So we certainly felt that while something should be done, it should be done, as you said, over time. Something we should have been maybe addressing over time in the past, but we didn't. So we didn't think it necessarily needed to be or should be a $25,000 project moving forward in 2021.
Thank you, Don. And Judy, I apologize if I skipped over you. Did you have something, Judy?
Yes. Come CIP night and the discussion on these projects, I had questions about two of the projects that I'd hope more information would be presented that evening. And one is the Public Works Facility Garage. In the description, it talks about structural deficiencies. I'd like to better understand what are they? What specifically is driving this proposal? Is the roof at risk of falling in, or there's some liability issues? What specifically is driving this? What not the wish list, but what is the basic need list driving this? And the other is the Salem Street utility. My former neighbors would like to know when is that street scheduled to be resurfaced, if it is scheduled at all in the near future. They'd like to have it coordinated with this particular project, so the street is only torn up once.
Jay is an expert at that, but I'll let Jen and Jay address it.
Well, we can wait until that evening. We don't have to discuss it now, but that's the information that I'd like to have.
Great. Tom?
Yeah, two things. One was on the waterfront seawall. It was my recollection that there was a much larger proposal a few years back, and that this repair is to address just the current deficiencies. So, and I wouldn't underestimate the amount of cost of the materials. So I think Jennifer's opinion is going to matter a lot on that, because it's a widely used area, and particularly since we're all so cooped up, we need places to go. But the real reason I had my hand up was regarding Pickpocket Dam. I sort of see, and this is for CIP night as well, I sort of see public safety and the DPW garage on a collision course. I can see that, not to mention a number of other CIP items, but I now also suddenly realize that we got a three-way crash coming up with the Pickpocket Dam. So, and it seems to me that potentially that one has a sort of a harder timeline and dateline to it. So I think it's going to be really important for us to understand what actually, what the requirements for pickpocket are, because that's going to probably drive the discussions about the garage and the public safety, which may not have quite as firm a timeline on them.
Don?
Yeah, I want to remind people again that what we're doing is repairing the boardwalk. We're not doing any work to the seawall. So maybe we should change that line item from being waterfront seawall to just the waterfront boardwalk repairs. We're not doing any seawall work.
Yeah, thank you, Don. I misspoke. I was. You're right.
They're two different things.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anna?
Tom said what I was concerned about. I also believe the waterfront boardwalk is a valuable part of our community, and it's not very safe. So if $25,000 is needed for repairs to buy another 5 years of life out of it for our community to use, I think that would be important.
I'd be curious to know what isn't safe about it. Just walking it lots with the dog and now looking down at it and wondering, it doesn't seem all that bad to me. I don't know if it's the underside.
I would never take. Yeah, I don't know if this is even part of the repairs. It's maybe a design flaw. I would never take a small child down there, because they can just go right through.
The railing. You're talking about the railing now.
The railing.
Yeah. But
that's right. And
I'm not necessarily.
Yeah, and I'm not sure that's what's contemplated with these repairs, but good point.
Yeah.
But I guess I was looking at it.
The discussion is that's somewhat of a maintenance thing, and maybe could be chipped away at. But let's talk about it in a few weeks. Appreciate the input,
Yep.
Kathy. Can you unmute yourself, Kathy?
Sorry about that. So I wanted to echo what Ton had said about, the collision course of public safety and the garage. And in looking at the plan, it is a very large building that actually houses all of the vehicles. And I just wondered, when you do present that, Jennifer, if we can have a comparison of what other towns are doing, just so that, because I know this is just for the design of it, but I don't want to get to the point where the design takes over and it's such an expensive thing that nothing ever gets done.
First of all, this isn't the design. This is a continued planning that we started last year. So that, there'll be, since the public safety complex wasn't even in the CIP, that's why we've sort of dialed back the effort for both of them. Mm-hmm. And we'll talk about this more in 3 weeks. But
that's all. I just wanted to know if they're, and that's why I'm saying what we're saying is, these are the questions we're going to have. And one of my questions is, do other towns have something that large? You know,
yes.
I'd love to
Short
see.
answer is yes. Anna, oh, you're all set, Anna? Okay. Great. Anything else, Corey?
Not for CIP. Just, briefly, you can see in the CIP book, there are 3 vehicles proposed under Public Works as well, a replacement of a number 65, a Jeep Patriot with a slightly larger vehicle to accommodate the needs. I think Jay drives that one and his needs when he's on the road. A pickup truck and a 6-wheel dump truck that has been kicked down the road, so to speak, for a few years or a couple years on replacement.
Okay.
I had a question for CIP night. Could either of the first 2 vehicles be hybrid or electric?
Yeah, we can talk about, there's a much broader discussion about vehicles coming up anyway. So, but that's certainly in the mix, as it were. Okay, so our next meeting is Monday, November 9th. That's the Parks and Rec, Library and Welfare and Human Services. Christine Suter is the chair, and she's working with Liz and Chris Sigmont. They will be presenting that night. And then 3 days later on Thursday, we'll be doing DPW, water and sewer. And the week after will be CIP night. So lots to think about. Any other final wrap-up issues? Oh, is Joanne? Yeah, Joanna, you're still on. Do we have any minutes of some of the past meetings? Just I don't want to stack up too many of them, but it's not a big deal.
I'm sorry, that 8-hour meeting, I'm still not finished with it.
Not a problem. Just thought I would ask. It was on my list.
I'd be working on that for like the next year. I'd be like, I still haven't gotten through it.
Oh, I'm close.
Praying y'all forget.
I'll be here next year and I'll vote on it. And so will you.
I have to approve now.
Joanna is the best recording secretary we've had, at least in my tenure. She's amazing at minutes, so treat her well.
Oh, we're giving her all sorts of lines.
Absolutely agree to that.
Okay, well, thank you to the subcommittee and to Jen and Jay for providing support and very productive discussion. And thank you for a very reasonable and well thought out budget.
Thank you all.
Thanks, everybody.
And we'll see everyone on Monday, November 9th. Have a good evening.
Great.